Alright guys, so a lot of people are promoting this Go High Level SaaS online nowadays, and I thought I would explain a bit more and basically give my opinion on the whole thing. Now, in my opinion, I've used Go High Level SaaS before. I think it's a decent software, like it has good benefits, things like automation and reviews. But to be honest, things like reviews and payments, there's already a lot of software that already does that. Most businesses already use some type of accounting software like Xero, MYOB, and in terms of the website builder, it's really basic. To be honest, it has good templates, but there's already a lot of tools like ClickFunnels and what else? You know, there's a lot of tools that do that. The calendar is okay, I guess it's decent, but there's already tools like Calendly and Acuity scheduling. They all do the same thing. So the way I look at Go High Level SaaS is it's basically like a combination of all these different software. Now it's not a bad thing. I don't think it's a bad thing because that means you have kind of more features to promote. But the way that people go about promoting it, it's like they're just trying to push it on the small businesses. They're trying to push it onto businesses by cold calling, all this stuff. I don't think that's a good way to go about it. I think a better way to go about it is actually custom building something that actually solves a big problem. Building something that solves something that's in high demand, right? Something like when I use software like Zoho, I think Zoho is a great piece of software because you get to manage your invoices. It integrates with Stripe. Now, obviously, Go High Level does the same thing. It integrates with Stripe. It integrates with Zero. It's not bad, but it's like everyone's trying to push and sell it, and it's becoming very annoying, and it's becoming very obvious that this is some type of agency software that you can just buy and try to push it. And also the thing is, like, the way they go about it is most people just try to cold call, and it's not an effective method. If you're looking at promoting something, you want to always you want to promote it efficiently, right? You don't want to just, like, if I was trying to sell SaaS, it's like the equivalent of me going to people on the street and asking them, are you a business owner? Do you want to buy SaaS? I think that's stupid. I think a better way to go about it is actually find people that are actively looking for SaaS who actually need it. So people that are running Facebook ads, they need, if they're getting a lot of leads from Facebook, they need a way to automate that flow of leads. So I think people that are running Facebook ads, particularly local businesses that are running Facebook ads, those would be a great option to go for. So what you can do is you can go to Facebook ad library, find these businesses and contact them, send them a message, call them, send them an email. I think that's a good method. But if you're just going to some random business who has a random Google My Business profile and you try to call them and try to push Go High Level SaaS, they're not going to go for it. I think that's dumb. So that's I think a big problem is that a lot of people try to push it to people who don't need it. And so I don't think it would really work in that sense. In terms of the features, if you try to promote things like the payment feature, it's a decent feature. Don't get me wrong, it's a decent feature, but it's not the best. It's not as good as other payment features like Zero and Zoho and all these other ones. And like it's a basic software. It does the basic things. So you can definitely sell it. You can definitely sell it, but it's not the best. So in my opinion, what I think would be the better option would be to find an actual problem and then build the software based on that problem. In my opinion, like for example, Zoho is very easy to use. It is designed just for accounting. It has integrations with Stripe, integrations with Zero, other integrations. It's easy to use. You can keep track of different contacts. It has a lot of features, settings. You can adjust things like the language, currency, and all this stuff. So I think Zoho is a great piece of software. It's actually solving a problem. It's designed properly, and it's a good piece of software. Now, Zoho does pretty much the same thing as a lot of accounting software like Zero and all these other ones. So Zero is more of a basic software, but it solves a common problem. So does MYOB, so does QuickBooks, so does Zero, so there's hundreds of payment software, right? So you can enter a market that's already kind of competitive, and you can still create something that is solving a problem in a different way. Let's say it's payment software, right? Now, a common problem with payment software is that it doesn't integrate with Xero. Now literally all of them have solved that problem. Another problem with payment software is the reporting. The reporting isn't very easy to use. It's not very well designed. So then people, Xero and MYOB, they've designed it and they made it easier to use. Now and then, that's how you solve problems. I think that's probably the better way to go about it, instead of kind of being like kind of very pushy, kind of like drop shipping. The way they do it is like they're just everyone's trying to compete over they're trying to get every crumb they can get. That's the way I look at it. It's like, you know they're trying to do it like as quickly as possible before anyone else tries to do it. I don't know. In my opinion, I don't think that's a good way to go about things, and it makes the market very saturated. Because obviously, if you buy Go High Level SaaS, literally a lot of people have the same thing, so you can't really customize it. You can't make it different in any way. So how can you really differentiate it? So if one guy is selling Go High Level SaaS, then the next guy selling Go High Level SaaS, then what makes you different? There's no differentiating factor. So that's another feature I don't really like about Go High Level SaaS, and I think the best option would be to build something that is similar to Xero. Or, I mean, just I think the best option is to find already a piece of software that is performing very well, like Xero, for example, and just make a certain feature or a certain part of the software better. So maybe it's the design, maybe it has a feature that is better, maybe it has a certain integration, maybe it's loads faster, something like that. And technically, even if you had the exact same software and you white labeled it like they do with Go High Level, that would still work. But so I think Go High Level is a good kind of beginner option for software, because obviously to build something like Xero is going to cost a lot of money. It's going to cost well over $10,000 to build something like Go High Level. I mean Xero, right? Whereas Go High Level is very cheap. It's $97 per month. Anyone can afford it. So it's a good beginner option, but I don't think it's. I honestly I don't like using it because the way that I don't like it, to be honest. But obviously you can succeed with it. If I built Xero the same way and I white labeled Xero and I called it something like Bureau and it had the exact same features, the exact same functionality, the same integrations, that would probably succeed as well. But it doesn't have any brand like Xero does. Xero already has a tremendous brand. So that's kind of the way I look at it. Like, I would find something and then I would try to find a way to target a specific segment that actually needs it. So like, let's say Xero. Xero has a lot of features. There's reporting, there's expenses, invoicing, sales. What else? I mean, actually, I'm gonna look at the actual website. So if I go to Xero and I look at all the features it has, okay, Xero features. So there's claiming expenses, bank connections, accept payments, track projects, GST returns, payroll, reconciliation. You could have something that is just for invoicing, and there's already software that just does invoicing, and it already is very successful. So you can just focus on invoicing, and you can just have one feature and make it very very good, or make it specific to someone's I guess a market's specific need. That would be a good option, I think. But yeah, I think Go High Level, the way they promote it is kind of like, it's only useful for agency owners, and it's really designed for agency owners, I think. Most people, they don't have time. Most businesses don't have time to set up their own automations and do all this extra stuff like Google reviews and all this. I think most people that do Go High Level, they really own an agency. They have some type of agency, and then they do all the automation for the owner, of course, but they charge extra for that. I think that's probably what they do, and that might be another option, but I prefer honestly to build it myself. So building from scratch, or building with something like bubble.io, or even just hiring a developer on Upwork, some type of someone on TopTal. There's a lot of different websites where you can hire developers to do it. But to pitch Go high level, it's not. Yeah, I mean the way they go about it, obviously, like I said before, they try to cold call people who aren't even interested. So they're already, it's very inefficient, calling a random person on a Thursday afternoon who let's say they're a plumbing contractor, and you call them and you say, hey, do you need Go high level? Do you need to use automation? They're not gonna even understand this automation and all this stuff. They're not even gonna understand it, and it's just very inefficient. When I tried to pitch Go high level and try to do all this, it wasn't working. The best way to go about Go high level, I think, is probably just to go to Facebook ad library, find the people that are actually running the ads, and then call them or send them an email, and then say, we can automate this whole process for you, plus the other features like the reviews and everything. Then you can actually make some type of difference. But even then, that's already an extremely competitive space, and I don't really like to go into very competitive spaces like that, because it's honestly oversaturated. Like, I'm fine to go into some competitive spaces if there's more demand than supply. I'm willing to go into that. But in the case of things like these, like Go high level Facebook ads, there's actually more supply than demand, which means it's oversaturated. So it's very hard to succeed in something that's oversaturated. So that's why I don't really look at Go high level in a good way, to be honest. And that's the best way I would look at it. So the only other method, I guess, is just to cold call random businesses on Google Business, and I think that's the dumbest way to do it. So if the best way to do it is already oversaturated, then why would you bother with Go high level? It doesn't make sense. I would rather just build something myself, and even if I have to like pay a bit, maybe like 5K, 10K, just build it myself, man, and then just like that would actually be better, and I wouldn't feel like it's so oversaturated, and I wouldn't actually like I would actually feel more confident with promoting it, instead of going into somewhere, like you try to call someone and they're already gone on 10 calls already, and then you call them and say, go high level. They're just gonna hang up. They're just gonna be like, I'm not interested. They're just gonna hang up. So better that you actually, instead of being like so greedy. A lot of people, they're very greedy and they just look at like, or I can just push this and make a lot. No, I think it's better to actually find something that is actually a big problem that people are having, and then create something around that, and then that would actually help a lot. And that's kind of what I'm looking at, is like, obviously there's, and it doesn't have to be something revolutionary. Like, it doesn't have to be something that completely is like, exceptional. Like, to be honest, if you look at Zero, you compare Zero to MYOB, and then you compare MYOB to QuickBooks, and you compare all these different software. They're not revolutionary at all. They're all very similar. They're all very similar, but they have different benefits in different ways. Some is better designed for small business. Others is designed for accountants. Other is better for just sole traders, that type of thing. So each one has its benefits, and that's what I like. I like to find a benefit that I can kind of push towards a certain segment, certain market, instead of trying to push Go high level like a lot of people try to do. They try to push Go high level. It's already oversaturated, and they try to push it, and it's a headache. It's a headache to deal with. So I rather build something that is benefits in a very specific way, right? So if I'm looking at Zero, obviously Zero is an accounting software, but even Zero, or even Zero it's such a great software. But if you go to Zero reviews and you look at their reviews, even Zero doesn't have 5-star reviews. So if I go to Zero, I go to G2 reviews, and I look at their reviews. So I'm just going to reviews. I'm going to filter the reviews. So I look at only the reviews that are 3 stars. So let me just find that. Reviews that have 3 stars. Okay, I'm just going to. I can't find the 3-star thing. I'm just going to go to the lowest rated reviews. Then I can look at things like, let's see. So there's already a few reviews I can see that are 1-star reviews. So even though Zero is this super successful company, it has all these, it has well over it has an extremely high valuation. A lot of people use Zero. Pretty much all people, all large enterprises use Zero, and yet it still has 1-star reviews. So that's I think that's a good way to identify, some type of way that you can promote and actually build something that is similar to Zero, but it solves that specific problem when it comes to reviews. That's kind of what I'm looking at. So, okay, it's G2 actually doesn't let me see the reviews. So I'm going to go to software advice. And yeah, okay, so there's some that are 3-star reviews. So I'm just going to look at 3-star reviews, okay? 3-star reviews, so let's see. The cons. So the other accounting software apps I use are QBO and Wave. Both, in my opinion, are better than Zero. Back to the bank feed, Zero is unable to connect with a number of banks. So that's a problem, right? Zero is unable to connect with a number of banks. So what I could do is I could create something similar to Zero, right? Except it allows more integration with different banks. That you could, and then you could say you can kind of use that as the hook, and you can say that this accounting software lets you connect with your chosen bank. This this accounting software, unlike all these other ones, can actually connect to a multiple amount of banks. So if you have multiple banks, then it connects, and then you can push this to people that actually need connections with multiple banks. Maybe they own multiple bank accounts. Maybe they, I don't know. Maybe they need to use multiple banks. Maybe it's some type of specific industry regulation where they have to use different banks. Obviously, I'm just thinking out loud. This is just an example, but they could find some type of industry sector that needs a lot of connections with multiple banks. I mean, obviously, this is a problem because they've left a review, so this might be actually a segment that you can target, right? And then you can create something like this that helps them connect with multiple banks. Find a sector. Let's say it's a sector. Let's say it's I don't know, like let's say it's credit repair companies. They need to use multiple banks. So you create an accounting software for credit repair companies that need connection with multiple banks. Then that would actually be something that you can define as a differentiating factor. You can say this is very different. But if you just try to, now compare this to Zero. It's oversaturated. There's everyone trying to push it. People getting called every day. Do you want to use this? Do you want to use this? Now compare this to something which is actually solving a problem that could be a large market. Now let's go through some other reviews. Let me see. Reports are impossible to configure and source the data that I need. So what you can do is you create an accounting software that is that has very easy to produce reports. It's very easy to use and produce quick reports. Because obviously this person is saying that reports are impossible to configure and source the data that I need. Now this might just be someone who is just just like, obviously every person you meet isn't perfect. Every person that you come across, every client, whatever, there's going to be some bad ones. So this might just be a bad one. So in order to ensure that you're not specifically looking for people that are what's the word, that are just people that are looking to leave a bad review and they're just bad clients, bad customers. What you could do is you could just go through and find the ones that are consistently leaving these bad reviews. If you can find people that are consistently leaving these bad reviews, that means it's actually something that is a very common problem. It's not just so like let's say 100 people use Zero. Out of 100 people, there's one person that says this is the worst software I've ever used. And then out of 100, if only one person says that, then that might just be a one-time thing. That that person. Maybe that person just isn't used to software. But out of those 100 people, let's say 10 to 20 people, they are saying the same thing, then it's not a coincidence. That means that if it was one person, it might be just a one-time thing. But if there's a lot of people saying the same thing, that means it's a common problem, right? So that is what I would do, is I would go through the reviews. I would look at things that people are commonly saying, and then I would basically improve based on that. And this really applies across all levels. Even if you look at things like a barbershop, for example, right? If you look at if you go to Google and you just type in barber and you go through all these different barbers, there's some that have there's some that have 5 stars, others have 1 stars. But if you look at some of these barbers, let's say it's a 5-star one, and no, let's say it's a 2-star one. You look at their reviews, you probably see that a lot of these barbers, they have very poor service. So there will be something like, staff are very rude, the equipment is dirty, this and that. That's a good way to that basically is the same thing. Like, it's the same thing. So if I was someone who was a barbershop owner, and I run a barbershop, and I go through all the reviews in my area, and I see that the reviews that are like all the top 5 barbershops in my area are getting 3-star, 2-star reviews, 1-star reviews, and they're saying that they have poor service, then what I would do is I would just focus on service. I would be like, I would make sure that the service is exceptional. Then that's obviously solving a big problem that people are having, right? And so that it's the same thing, right? That's basically what I'm trying to say, is that it's very similar. It's not just for software. It's across even service, even goods, even other models. So it's not just for software. Okay, so that's something else, I guess. Now let me look at other reviews. Cons. When you have a question, their first response is to tell you to have an accountant look at it. So that's another issue. I guess, what else? Invoices, purchase orders, etc. are not sent out from your own email address, but from messaging/service@postzero.com. This looks unprofessional and spammy. I have had customers reply by copy and pasting that email address, and it's been by Xero. That's another problem. That might be another problem. Another one. It has limitation on transactions that can be handled at one given point of time. The system doesn't have payroll functions. What? I'm pretty sure Xero does have payroll functions, but maybe it wasn't very easy to use. I don't know. What else? Cons. Built by accountants for accountants. Does not work for those of us who use common sense. Even the survey does not have spell check. I mean that's another option, right? Make it easy to use for normal people. Don't make it just for accountants. Make it for everyone, or not everyone, but make it for layman. Layman's term. Like just normal everyday people, plumbers, electricians, barbers, whatever. Okay. Very poor reporting around sales. There is no simple customer sales reports available. So see, I'm pretty sure that I've already mentioned this before when I was going through the reviews. Someone already mentioned reporting, and now it's being mentioned twice. So if it's being mentioned twice, then it's likely that this is a common issue. Now if I really want to confirm this, I can just go Control F, I go report, and then I just scroll through the reviews, and I can really see a lot of similar reviews. Now there's another one. The reporting has been buggy at times and not clear how to customize. Support is not good. I have been quite frustrated trying to find the right report. Now see, this is the 3rd time now. So it's not just the one time. It's already been 3 times. Now just to be super sure that this is a common problem, I'm gonna look for 2 more reviews. Lack of correct pro forma invoicing, lack of email notifications when invoice is paid, lack of supplier reporting. Another one. Okay, now just to be sure, one more time. It is an expensive product, which is great for small businesses. For a small company that works in multiple currencies, it is a plus over QBO, which doesn't support multiple currencies. Oh wait, this is a pro. This is a pro. This isn't a con. So I should be looking at the cons. It is easy. Okay, gives you options. Okay. Okay, so it looks like some people actually like the reports and other people don't like the reports. But now here's another con. The reporting functionality of Xero is average at the very best. They are very basic and at times inadequate, e.g. management reports. Although we currently use Xero, we are often having to build reports outside the system as the software is not sufficient enough. So this is the 5th time that they've mentioned reports. It's not just one time, it's the 5th time. So it's pretty safe to say that this is a common problem. And then from there you can decide, build an accounting software that has easy to use reporting functionality. Actually find out what's the problem with the reporting functionality. Maybe it's hard to use, maybe it's not easy to read, maybe it doesn't sync properly, maybe it's very slow, whatever it is, and then build something and say this accounting software has a very easy to use reporting functions, and then identify who actually needs good reporting functions. Actually, like it might just be like like why is reporting even important? Why is reporting important? Well, they have to look at their sales figures every month. They have to look at things like their profit margins every month. They have to look at things like what else is there, uh, payroll expenses every month, and compare it to last month and see if it's improving, if it's not improving, this and that. And then who actually needs to really look at these things, because it's not just someone who it's not just a basic person who does reporting every now and then and checks it. It must be something that it's an issue for them, that they're actually leaving a bad review. Why? Because it must be important to them. If it's something that's not important to someone, why would they even mention it? Like, let's say it's something like let's say Xero has multiple functions. It has payroll, invoicing, expenses, right? So payroll, invoicing, expenses. Now let's say someone just uses it and they just like the invoicing. They don't really care about payroll. They probably don't have a lot of stuff to manage or whatever. Expenses, they don't really care about expenses. And then there might be a timesheet feature. They don't really use timesheet. So maybe they just use it for invoicing, right? So it's not important to them about reporting, whatever. They don't really care about reports. But who actually cares about reporting? I don't know. I actually don't know. I would probably have to research and to try to understand who actually needs that. But then I could create something like this and then say this is this accounting software actually has very good reporting. If you're whoever actually needs reporting, that for their accounting software, who actually needs a reporting for their accounting software, identify who they are, create something like this that has that differentiating factor, and then promote it. Like, say this is like Xero, but we have much better reporting features for, let's say it's let's just say, just for the sake of this argument, let's just say it's for accounting firms. I mean, obviously it would actually make sense for accounting firms, because they have to work with a lot of clients and they have to actually report constantly. It's part of running an accounting firm. They have to be professional and they have to send reports and things like that. I'm pretty sure that's what they do. Obviously, I'm not a accountant. I don't know any accountants or any accounting firms really, so I don't know for sure. But I'm just assuming that's probably what they would do. So then you can say this is like Xero, but we have great accounting features, and then you have something that is really that is actually very valuable. And yeah. Now, I'm not saying this is easy, and I'm not saying that this is gonna be cheap either, right? Obviously, to build something like Xero is not easy at all, and it's not gonna be cheap. To build something like Xero, I mean, Xero hasn't been around for how many years? I don't know how long it's been around. It's been around at least, I'm gonna say at least 10 years. It's been around for at least 10 years. It has a strong brand, and they're probably trying to invest more and more into doing things like building more features and improving its functionality. So it's not gonna be easy to compete with Xero. But if you can have such an exceptional reporting functionality and you can pretty much do the rest of the Xero features, the Xero functions, then you have something that stands out, that isn't oversaturated, which means that it matches there's less supply and there's more demand, and then you actually have something that differentiates and is solving a problem, then you can promote this very easily. It's like if we go back to that barbershop example, if there's there's a lot of good barbers, right? There's barber, some, let's say they're all 4 stars, right? Zero is actually rated 4.4 stars, so it's not rated 5 stars, which means it's not perfect. So let's say it's barbershops. There's multiple barbershops that have 4 stars. They have good haircuts. They have good haircutting tools. Haircutting, what's it called? Razors, things like that. They have good friendly service. Whatever. But maybe there's a small part of it that isn't that good. Then you can promote that as some type of benefit. So let's say in your area there's multiple barbershops. They all have about 3 to 4 stars. Some of the reviews might be like good barbershop but poor service, good haircut but poor service, good haircut but very rude staff, don't greet you, very boring staff, they just cut your hair and they don't have a conversation with you, they're just interested in cutting your hair as fast as possible. Then you could create a barbershop and say it might not even be the best. It might not even be the best haircuts, but let's say you create a barbershop that has the best haircuts and it's great service. Then you're it's very easy for you to promote that. It's very easy for you to kind of have some confidence in it, right? Compared to something like Go High Level, it's very hard to be confident in Go High Level because everyone else is saying the same thing, and it's not really something that most people even need. So how can you be confident promoting it? Whereas something that you actually custom build and you actually customize it for a specific problem, I think that's much easier to actually have some confidence in. Anyways, that's my opinion. And yeah, that's what I plan to do.